Good morning and welcome to Race Industry Now, the weekly webinar series from EPARTRADE, presented to you by ARP, Performance Plus Global Logistics, Feria Racing Components, Peak, Fifth Third Bank Motorsport, Quarer, and CTEC Manufacturing. I am Francisque Savinien, the founder and CEO of EPARTRADE, the racing industry, every minute, every day. This is episode 542, and we're going to be talking with BAM roller lifters and SRI performance. With me this morning are Judy Kin, the co-founder of EPARTRADE, and a wonderful host, Mr. Brad Gillie. Judy?
Thank you, Francisque, and thank you everyone joining us today. Today's kind of special to me. We have three great racing businesses, all based in the heart of North Carolina, and their friends. But SRI Performance, owned by Greg Fernelli, he is a true ambassador for this industry. I mean, he helps all the suppliers, he helps all the race teams. He's on the board of North Carolina Motorsports Association. So great to have this company on board with us, and we're going to have one of those great suppliers on today with BAM roller lifters. So today's going to be special. Brad?
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to it for sure. And you're right about Greg. He is just an amazing powerhouse in the racing industry and really helps out a lot of people. Well, we look forward to today. Francis, Judy, we'll talk to you guys here in a little bit as we get our panelist on with us right now. Today's webinar is titled Inside the Engine, Precision and Performance with BAM Roller Lifters and SRI Performance, featuring Wilkins Racing Engines. And our panelists here today, you see him coming on, Brad Miller, the founder of BAM Roller Lifters, Chad Elliott, the Director of Technical Sales at SRI Performance, and Sandy Wilkins, the owner of Wilkins Motorsports and Racing Engines. Before we get started, I just want to remind you, again, this is a trade show. This is an online trade show. This is an opportunity for you to ask questions, for you to learn, for you to find better products and maybe a better way of doing things as well. So please, we encourage discussion here. If you have a question for any of our panelists, please just type it into the chat and we'll talk about as much as we can. But we want your interaction with all of these webinars because we want to make sure that we're talking about the things that you want to learn about as well. So gentlemen, Brad, Chad, Sandy, thank you so much for joining us here today. We're thrilled to have y'all, and it's great to be talking about this with a bunch of people who are Charlotte-based, especially ahead of a big race weekend as well. Brad, let me just start with you. Share a brief history of BAM, if you will, and where you guys have come from and what you have going on.
Sure. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So BAM is a roller lifter company, solid tie bar roller lifters. The name BAM is simply my initials, Brad A. Miller. It's been ridiculed if you're not some nice cute jokes made about BAM and racing are not a good combination, but it is my initials. We're in an industry where a lot of folks use their names on their products and their businesses, so I elected to go with my initials, and I think it's it's certainly a catchy phrase. So I started manufacturing lifters back in 1996 when I took a job as a manufacturing engineer at Crane Cams in Daytona Beach. Crane was an iconic Valvetrain company. I learned a lot about Valvetrain there and manufacturing metalworking. And unfortunately, Crane didn't survive the financial crisis in the country back in 2008. And closed their doors early 2009. Shortly after that, I started out on my own venture to manufacture lifters on my own. Spent a few years manufacturing them as a private label opportunity I had, and then in 2014 I incorporated as BAM Products and created the BAM roller lifter brand and just been moving forward since then.
No, that's fantastic. All right, Chad, let's talk a little bit about SRI. And I know a lot of people within the racing industry know a lot about SRI, but where you fit into this conversation today, how about that?
Well, that's great. I don't think I have enough time within 45 minutes to cover everything that SRI is and what we do. But what it stands for is Supplies for Racing and Industry. You mentioned our owner, Greg Fernelli. He founded Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, a major steel sheet metal supplier for the NASCAR teams back in the late 90s. It has grown into supplies. And in our specific role, working with Brad and our engine team, we do specific, high performance race engine products for NASCAR, NHRA drag racing, sportsman drag racing, dirt racing. Now we've branched into road racing and anything with a high performance engine. We're focused on the highest quality parts that we can provide. We don't want to be just a regular parts warehouse. We want to be the place that you come for expertise and materials, coatings, and applying them in your particular race engine application.
That's awesome. And Sandy, let's talk a little bit about Wilkins Racing Industries and what your Wilkins Racing Engines, I apologize, and what you guys offer.
Well, we are a primarily engine company. We build all types of racing engines. We specialize in drag racing engines. We do a lot of drift car engines. We actually have engines run all over the world, which is really, really exciting for us. But we are a small company. We're a small group of guys that just love racing engines, and we build some of our own little products that we sell as well. Wheelie bar wheels and wrenches, and along with drag racing, my wife and I also NHRA drag race. So we have a full plate over here.
Hey, that's great, though, that you actually use the products that you make, which is a really neat thing. All right, Brad, let's talk about your relationship with SRI. I know a couple of years ago you guys partnered with them. What are the benefits there, and how has it helped BAM?
Yeah, so after doing this on my own, literally for a number of years, I was just really experiencing really good growth in the product. And I did that without a lot of marketing. It was really the philosophy of, creating a good part, a good product, selling it at a fair price, and expecting the sales to come along, and it did. And most of my marketing was just basically word of mouth. And I've also had a focus always on engine builders and professional engine builders and automotive machine shops has always been the key customer focus. So shops like Sandy's and so forth were always where I targeted the BAM lifter sales. So that's always been the premise of BAM, or the business model, was to sell to engine builders and machine shops. It just got to the point by about 2022, 2023, I just had really outgrown my capabilities, and I had to kind of decide whether to try to grow the company organically or partner up with somebody. And I've known the SRI folks for years, and it just came together, and it was really a good match for BAM and SRI. So they bring a lot of helping me expand the manufacturing capacity. We've increased, obviously, with Chad and the other salespeople. We've increased our technical sales group. Obviously, we're marketing quite a bit more now through some more of the more standard channels, although it's still a focus on engine builder. And just increased customer support. I've always been really proud of the customer support that I had in the past. I was always returning phone calls as quickly as I could. I was contacting customers sometimes 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, just to make sure I got back to them. And most of the customers are, engine builders are small businesses in this country, and we all work after dinner. Yeah, but the partnership with SRI was also partly, some succession planning as well for myself. Being basically a one-man show with a little bit of help, I just needed help in continuing the growth and the expansion of the brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which makes sense. Well, let's talk about what sets BAM apart from your competitors out there, Brad.
Sure. I got a couple little slides I'm going to pop up here if I can make sure I can manage this. So
we can see your screen share now. Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah. Okay. So the BAM lifters, again, lost my train of thought here.
Yeah. So when we start talking about BAM,
There we go.
there we go. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So again, the whole premise was, building a good part, selling it at a fair price, focusing on a customer base. In this case, it was our professional engine builders and shops. That's what I set out to do. The BAM lifters, again, we're involved with all kinds of racing. So, circle track, dirt and asphalt, muscle cars, drag and drive, bracket racing, heads up racing, truck pulling. I'm just going across the list here, late models, land speed records, marine. So all these types of motors are, obviously V8 pushrod motors and incorporate lifters. So this is kind of the cream of our customer base here. So then we 2023 joined together with SRI. And again, we're just kind of just trying to continue the expansion. Some of the things that set us apart, we are well established with inventory right now. So we are shipping, orders within 24 hours or less. We use a process where we're using all 100% American-made components. So it's we have long-standing supplier relationships that supply our components. I mean, I think just about all but one supplier that we use is still the same supplier I used, back in 2014 when I started expanding. We're known for our quality. The BAM lifters are known for high precision, repeatable product, and so that's what our customers expect, and that's what we always try to deliver. As far as the manufacturer of the lifter design, we use what's called a cross-drilled 4-column design. You can see in the view on the left there, the two cross-drilled holes in the center of the lifter body create these 4 columns in the body, which this type of design has more surface area in contact with the lifter bore in the engine, makes it much more stable. When you get into these larger lift camshafts, this particular design tends to be a little more stable than the more classic styles that have the annular oil band groove around them. We use a very high strength tie bar. It's one of the thicker materials you'll see out there in the industry as far as for lifters. It's a 2-piece hardened steel button with a high fatigue, high strength rivet holding that tie bar on. Our axles are a tool steel and with a through hardened tool steel with a nitride layer. Our CNC machining on our lifter bodies is second to none. Very accurate, very good finishes. All the edges that come in contact with another component are chamfered and radiused. Every lifter, except for one exception the BAM makes, we all have pressurized oil delivery to the bearings. And that's a very important feature in today's engines where the pressures are so high that having that pressurized oil versus a splash oil type of oiling mechanism is a much improved performance. And then beyond that, we get into some of the variations of the configurations of the lifters. What you see here we have basically 3 bearing configurations that BAM lifters can be configured with. We have a standard base needle bearing, which is a needle roller bearing. It's a very good piece. We still sell a lot of these to various customers for various uses. Then we get into some of the bush type bearings that we also offer. The one you see on the left is our BB4, which is our BAM bushed bronze alloy bearing. Again, it's a bushing type bearing that's press fed into the wheel of the lifter. The idea of that particular bronze bushing there is the bearing surface that rides on the axle that you see beside it there. Very good piece. We can run these with the pressurized oiling, feeding these bush bearings. We can run them in just about every application out there. So what you see there, we run in circle track. We run them on the street. We run them in drag racing. It's a very popular piece for drag racing. Is the bronze alloy is a little more forgiving for oil qualities. Maybe they're a little more debris in them than some. On the right hand side is our solid tool steel DLC coated bushing, and again it is also a bushing. In this case, though, it slips into the ID of the wheel, and we press the axle through the ID of the bushing. So in this circumstance here, or this configuration, the OD of the bushing is the bearing surface. So you're riding on a much bigger bearing diameter, which the larger the diameter, the better it displaces the loads on the lifter. There is no press fit, so there's never any concerns about the bushing coming loose. And then on all BAM lifters, it's all held together with basically small 317 diameter axle holes in the lifter body. So in the steel bushing scenario, you're getting a big diameter bearing characteristic, but it's still held in place with small diameter axle holes in the lifter bodies for maximum lifter body integrity. So you can just kind of see in the video, this is essentially how the lifter basically goes together.
That's pretty neat. And what I love too, you talk about your engineering background as well, and being able to do this. Sandy, I want to ask you, as an engine builder and a racer yourself, just tell us a little bit about BAM lifters and what a difference they make for you.
Well, we use BAM lifters in the majority of our applications, and Brad touched on a number of the reasons that we use his lifters. But one of the things that I really like about using Brad's stuff is he was one of the first to get the bronze bushing to work correctly. And in engine building, we have to build for professional racers, for novice racers, for all different types of people, and so you have different driving skills, and some people are harder on the engines than others. And BAM's lifters are very, very durable, and we use them in the majority of our drag racing applications, and have been extremely, extremely happy with the quality and the reliability, number one. And of course, the price isn't bad either. So, I mean, they really work really well for us.
Yeah, let's speak to the price, because a lot of times, sometimes there's like always an intersection of compromise, and whether it's in a product that, if you're adding durability, maybe you're giving up performance, or if you're adding durability and performance, maybe you're giving up in price, and sometimes that intersection is at a perfect threshold and all of that. So Chad or Brad, whomever wants to speak about the pricing and how competitive it is with BAM lifters, go ahead.
Well, I'll jump in if you don't mind. I think one thing that was important to Brad, and we're going to give Brad a shout out to guys like Sandy and our other customers, is like he was very adamant that we protect the engine builder. Our engine builder are our dealers. That is our dealer network. So we try to force, I wouldn't say force customers, but retail style customers or their customers to engine builder on geographically what makes sense. So with that, they get better technical assistance dealing directly with the engine builder. Where SRI comes into play is, we offer all the tools that we had in place. Our manufacturing capabilities, our people, our shipping department, our customer service, Greg Fernelli's energy, all those things were injected in without, raising the prices to the end user. So our goal was to provide better service, better technical assistance while keeping the price on the same playing field.
Yeah, that is awesome. Sandy, I want to ask you, a lot of times, and we've had various engine component manufacturers and suppliers here, from pistons to connecting rods to crankshafts and, coatings and all kinds of different things, rings and everything. When we start talking about, lifters specifically, and let's talk about what we're talking about here, a product like BAM, where does this make a difference for people? Because we're always looking for performance, we're looking for durability, we're looking for price. I mean, we're looking for everything. So where does BAM fit into that engine, performance, durability, price equation?
Well, luckily it fits all of those very well. One of the great things I like about the BAM lifter is, we run the lifter, the bushing style lifter, a lot longer than we would a needle bearing lifter. And we can send them back to BAM for an inspection. They can inspect them in a couple different ways. They can do their visual inspection, and Brad will probably lead to this, but one of the best things about the lifter is that they can rebuild them for about half of what a new set costs. So part of our normal routine is to run the engines. Let's just use our bracket race drag racing engine, for example. We'll run those engines 300 runs. We will send them, the lifters, back for a visual inspection at 300 runs. Normally they will come back without any rebuild, so the cost is minimal. Then we will run them another 300 runs and send them back for a visual inspection. And normally at the 600 to 900 run time frame is about when they require the rebuild. So if you look at value, I mean, you buy one set of lifters and you get 3 rebuilds worth, basically, for one price, and then you can spend half the money again to get 3 more rebuilds worth. So and that just explains how good the quality is, honestly, because I mean, very few companies could you do that.
Yeah, I love that enthusiasm as well. Brad, would you expand on rebuild services that BAM provides?
Yeah. So, like Sandy touched on there, we do rebuild BAM lifters. We also can rebuild old crane cam lifters, the old vintage crane lifters. I still share some of the specifications with the crane design. So that's so we welcome people with crane lifters, which to send them in if they still have them. We can rebuild them with the needle rollers as they were originally equipped. But yeah, we offer an inspection service where you can send your lifters in, and you can go onto the BAM lifters website and download the a service form, send in your lifters. We will do an inspection on them and determine if they need to be rebuilt, and call you back with an estimate and handle that then. We've, like Sandy said, we've not just drag racing motors, but even circle track motors. I've rebuilt some sprint car motors as many as 3 times. They'll come back, about every other year, and we actually mark the tie bar with a mark on the back, so we know they've been rebuilt. And yeah, I've seen them with as many as three indications of rebuilds. So it's a good service. We spend a lot of time at it. Yeah, we encourage people to take advantage of it. It's a good deal.
Yeah, here's one of the other things I love about this, though, is not that people aren't always constantly R&Ding their products and testing them out, but it's one thing to do a lot of R&D and learn a lot of things in a lab or a controlled environment. But if you're literally getting a cross section of every form of motorsports, sending your product back to you to get rebuilt, the fact that you can put your hands on it too and see how things are performing and all of that, to me, seems just invaluable to the customer.
Yeah. That's really a majority of our testing and results are anecdotal. We don't have huge R&D budgets to set up simulations but we do have some partners that we deal with that will put lifters on their spintrons that are doing endurance tests, and we'll run them into the ground until we find the weakest link and then address that. But yeah, but most of our testing actually happens on the track in real life, setups. So it's sometimes the data is not as clear that way, but it's still real world. And I think it's again, it's just the way that our industry churns in a lot of cases. We rely on our customers to test our products for us in many cases.
How about upgrade options and then support after a rebuild? It's one thing to support and warranty a new product, but how about after a rebuild as well?
I'm sorry.
Upgrade options if I send mine in for a rebuild, and then support after the rebuild.
Sure. So the BAM lifters, we manufacture lifters from the 842 Chevy diameter up through a 937 diameter. The 842 Chevys, the 874 Chevys, and the 904 Chrysler sizes. Those lifters are, as far as the bearings, it typically is the bearing and axles that we're replacing on the rebuilds. Occasionally, we will rebuild a tie bar if it's necessary, but oftentimes the tie bars we are fine. So my design for the 842 through 904 lifters, the needle bearing, bronze bushing, or steel bushings are interchangeable. So if you have a set of lifters that you bought originally or were in your motor originally that had a set of needle rollers in them, and you want to upgrade them to a bronze or steel bushings, you can send them back, and they are upgradable. I've had some situations where we've downgraded lifters, where they've had bushings in them and so forth, and the engine was going on the market, and the owner didn't want to invest a lot of money back into it, so we've downgraded a used set of lifters to needles. So the 937 diameter lifters, I only tool those up with the steel DLC bushing. So those are kind of unique. If you're going to run a 937 diameter lifter, is probably a pretty serious build, and we feel like the steel bushing with the DLC coating is one of the best performers, and so I tooled up just with that in mind.
Very cool. Chad, if we could bring you back into the conversation as well. You talked about where SRI comes into the deal with BAM, and obviously what SRI does for the entire industry. But let's talk about, we've got the BAM lifters and everything, but just really a wealth of engine components that are complementary to this as well that we can get through SRI.
Yeah, absolutely. We specialize in everything from bottom end to top end. Have a lot of expertise in the Valvetrain area. We have some incredible partners that we're working with: Del West Engineering in California, Mitsubishi in Japan for our belting and drive needs. We supply primarily all of the Cup and Xfinity teams with the belting. We work with another company, Dyno Engine Bearing, which is one of our new partners. We believe they make the best high performance engine bearings in the world. So, and we're also working with PSI and also Childress Technologies on valve springs. So we have what we feel like is a group of vendors and manufacturers who are the best. And that's why Brad's company, BAM Lifters, we wanted it because we knew it would be a really good fit, kind of the last piece of the puzzle to bring those other products together. With that said, we are working together. Now Brad has his engineer hat on, and we're working on new designs. We've got a lot of new and exciting part numbers that we're going to be unveiling in the very near future.
Oh, that's really cool. And I love the idea as well when we start talking about this. Look, if we're putting something together and where we can go to one place, and not just one place to get things, but you guys have a very knowledgeable staff at SR as well, Chad. One place where we can go to also talk through some of the ideas we have or some of the things we're looking at doing to get the best fit for everything. Is that fair?
That's important to say. That's kind of our mantra here is we don't want sales, we want customers. And we want repeat customers that we can lean on. They can lean on us, and it's important to have vendors like BAM Lifters. We run to the problem. Racing, I think Sandy can attest, it's not easy. Sometimes problems do arise, and we all need to work together in order to help solve it for the engine builder and ourselves. So I think that's one thing that impressed me about Brad when I met Brad is like he's committed to that, and he's still committed to that to this day.
Yeah, Sandy, let's talk about real world and all of this. We hear Brad talking about tie bar and things like that. When do you prefer to use tie bar lifters?
So we use tie bar lifters in all of our sportsman builds. Anything that's 8,000 RPM and less, we normally will use a tie bar lifter, and then we'll choose the bushing lifter 90% or more of the time. We have had the best luck with the bushing lifter. We've had tremendous luck with all of them, but I feel like the bushing lifter provides us just that little bit more security for the over rev and the burnout or what could happen, So, and the tie bar lifter is, of course, it's economical, and it's just one thing that we prefer. As far as heck, I lost my train of thought, Brad. I'm kind of like you. But anyway, but yeah, we definitely like the tie bar lifter, and we use it for the 842, the 905, and the 937. So we've used them in everything up to about 1 inch 100 lift. It's sort of, if we're above 1 inch 100, we may look at another option, but all of our sportsman builds are under 1 inch 100 lift, and it doesn't matter if it's a cast iron block, if it's an aluminum block, if it's got a bronze bushing. The BAM lifters work in all of those applications, and I'd say that the majority of our stuff is either 905 or 937 diameter, and we just have tremendous luck with both of those.
I love that. By the way, I want to remind you, if you're viewing right now live, if you have a question for either of our panelists, be it Brad, Chad, or Sandy, feel free to type it in the chat, and we'd love to be able to talk about any questions you might have that we might not be answering here. So please feel free to do that. Sandy, I want to go back to you, and when it comes to installation, building, and all of that, do the BAM lifters require any sort of special preparation or break-in processes before installation?
No. Our normal procedure would be to soak the lifters in a container of oil, whatever oil that we'll be using in that particular engine, and we like to leave them in there for 30 minutes to an hour. But I think you could just dunk them and go because of the pressurized oiling to the wheel. You don't have any wheel issues or bearing issues, and I think that the dunking or leaving them soaking in oil for 30 minutes is definitely a benefit. But really, there's nothing to do. They're drop in and go. So it speeds up the process, so we don't have to modify anything before we put them in.
Yeah, Brad, I love this because, especially talking to Sandy, it just sounds so easy and it sounds like it works. But then I love also hearing from Chad, working on developing some new things and all of that. I know you develop a product and it works, and people love it, and people come by it, and you have repeat customers as well. But just being able to continue that effort to give something to the racer, to the engine builder that works. Can you really talk about how much of your day-to-day, or at least thought process, goes into maybe the what is next, or how can I improve what we have now?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to shift my focus to, because for the last several years, it's been just focused, heads down on manufacturing, getting parts out the door to customers. So now I'm trying to kind of point my thought process back into, well, what lifters what lifters don't we have in our catalog? So there's a number of engine platforms out there and lifter styles that I don't have a design, or I haven't committed a design to yet, that we're to manufacture. But that's where I'm trying to focus now, is more on the product development side and of the part.
Yeah, how I don't know what the best word is. How rewarding is that? How invigorating is it to, find new things still, when you've had something that really works and you've improved it, but now finding just all kinds of new things.
Yeah, I think it's just taking the features of the lifters or the product we have right now and just applying them to other applications and other engine platforms, other different just it's more of the same, frankly. But there are new materials out there. There's new finishings, new additional coatings. So there's still a lot of technology out there that we'd like to lean into in our quest for developing new products and continuing to refine the product we have.
Yeah, and Chad, I think this is also a great opportunity to sort of step into the conversation as well with SRI. Just like what Brad was saying, that, hey, look, he's expanding into new engines and new, things that he hadn't been in before. There are trends in motorsports, and there are things that all of a sudden, hey, look, people are going to be diehard sprint car racers or drag racers or whatever and go with what they know. But also we have new worlds, new technologies, new things coming into it as well. Where does SRI fit in?
Well, we are trying to fit in at the top, but also use what we learn in those scenarios to bring it to the masses, to learn what for example, we're working on a new lifter design that is going to be used across many platforms, from stock car racing to drag racing to dirt racing. The funny thing is I do a lot of NHRA races and some cup races. Last few times I've been at the track and I've had my BAM gear on, guys are grabbing me and stopping me. Hey, have you done one of these yet? Hey, are you guys looking at a Gen 3 Hemi? Or a keyed lifter, so to speak. So we bring all this information back from the racetrack, and we work on it with Brad and our team. That's the beauty of SRI. We are very inundated and involved at the grassroots, at the ground level with not only NASCAR, we do very well there, but and Sandy's world of NHRA and sportsman drag racing. We see that as a huge opportunity for our company and utilize a great product like BAM to help us get there.
Yeah, and the great thing about walking through any garage, people might be racing NASCAR or NHRA or something else for a living, but there are still hobby racers as well that are doing any number of things, from dirt to asphalt to sports car and all of that. I mean, you literally can walk into a garage and find a cross section of racers, right?
Absolutely. Plus, they may have a car in their garage that they run, to go get groceries on the weekend, that they may have a hot rod or something that these products can apply to as well. I think that other companies have done very well there. I think where we've done well is we've supplied products, information, and support to the professional racer, and now we have products that we can take down into the pyramid to more of the masses, to the sportsmen, to the public, to the retail.
That's awesome. Question from the chat. Brad, I guess this would be for you. Are there any other brands of lifters besides Crane that you can rebuild and upgrade?
Yeah, the GS Products is another brand. That was the private label brand that I was involved with in the early years. So GS Products and Crane Cams and BAM lifters.
That's great. That's great. Sandy, let's talk a little bit more about your program and what you have going on with Wilkins Racing Engines. And obviously, I really enjoy having what we have here. We have a manufacturer, we have, a supplier manufacturer, and then we have someone who actually uses these in the real world and with everything they're doing. But for Wilkins Racing Engines, you mentioned a good handful of different motorsports. What's business like for you?
Sure. It's amazing that we are as busy as we are in the economic times that we're in, and the world is ever changing and prices keep going up, and we still have customers that want to go racing, and that's really exciting for us. And I think that people definitely want to have fun. So we're building drag racing engines. We're building drift car engines. We are doing some off-road truck stuff. I mean, we have a large variety of items, but everything that we do here is a sort of a next level build, and we try to be on the forefront. So we're always experimenting with new products and new technology. And I still have, I spent many years working at Roush Yates. I still have a very good connection with them. So we work with some projects conjunctionally, and it's really great to see that a sport such as racing continues on. You know, even when other things maybe are seeing a decline, but man, we have a great group of customers, and I mean, we're developing some new drag racing engines that have taken off. One being the 648 Beast, which uses Brad's lifters and a lot of components from SRI. And I have to brag on SRI. They deliver to us daily, and we're in the Mooresville area, so we're within 10 to 15 minutes, depending on traffic, right, Brad? Brad and Chad, but those guys do an outstanding job of making sure that we have product. And so we don't really stock BAM lifters anymore because BAM has lifters on the shelf at all times, which is fantastic because a lot of vendors can't say that. We still struggle with some vendors to get parts, and it's disappointing at times, but you know, if you can't get the parts, you can't finish the build, you can't get paid, and you can't move on to the next project. So SRI does great at making sure that they have a lot of drag racing type parts, engine parts, you know, in stock, and Brad always has his stuff available. So I mean, I don't think I've ever had to wait more than about a day to get a set of lifters. So so we don't even stock them anymore. We use SRI as our warehouse.
I love that. You know, and Chad, I think this is a great opportunity. I remember this was a few years ago, and we had Greg on here. You know, we're talking about shortages of steel and different things like this, and this is the philosophy of SRI, I guess maybe that we can speak to. And he was like, look, I have a lot of vendors, a lot of places, and I didn't sit here and wait for things to run out. I've been looking well ahead to make sure that we have a good supply chain coming in. And that's a really important thing. I mean, what Sandy's so comfortable, he doesn't even need to, you know, he can just get you when you need it. But I mean, that's the philosophy of SRI, right? To make sure you have what you need and to really be able to forecast a lot of the different things that might be changing in our world.
Yeah, we do. And it is it's very challenging. Just to give you some examples, we don't have this problem with our BAM lifter product because we manufacture it ourselves here on site. But you know, we have lead times with, you know, some of my other manufacturers in NASCAR, 5 months lead times. So we have to really dig in with the customer, like Sandy, and understand what his business is like, so that we can, you know, do a better job of supplying them. But it is a challenge, and we work really hard every day at it, and we have a really good management team behind us that gives us the kick in the pants when we need it.
I like that. Brad, one of the things you brought up with your slides as well, and Chad just talked about it also, is manufactured here in the USA. That's important to a lot of people, whether it be just from a, you know, patriotic side of things or realistic, is just like Chad was talking about, availability. You know, if things are made here, you're going to get them here and you're going to get them quick, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, like I said, I never considered going offshore. I just had some experience with that in the past, and you know, a lot of the you know, downfalls of that you hear are true. So yeah, our customer base, you know, it really thrives on good quality, and I think you just get the better quality from staying in the U.S.
I like that. That's well said. Brad, Chad, Sandy, thank you so much. You know, great weekend to be talking to a bunch of Charlotte people while we're all here in Charlotte for a big race weekend as well. So really looking forward to everything that's to come. I like the way you tease some new products coming along, and what SRI does is awesome. And obviously, Sandy, with what you're doing at Wilkins Racing Engines is just great for the community. So we really appreciate you guys today.
Thank you.
Well,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. So this webinar has been recorded. It will be posted later on the ePartrade platform, distributed through our newsletter and social media channel. In the meantime, we pushed BAM's product and SRI's product back on the homepage of ePartrade. So for more information and update, please visit ePartrade.com. Next webinar will be on lubrication and fuels with hotshot secrets. So again, thank you very much and goodbye.
EPARTRADE is a digital platform that we've created basically to make life easier in the business community of auto racing.
EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier.
When you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information, and then from there it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
ePartrade really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Land speed record holder George Poteet's Speed Demon rocketed 481 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. You don't go that fast without ARP fasteners.
There is no way that we could go the speed that we've gone, the number of times we've gone, with a lesser quality bolt than ARP supplies to us. And we absolutely wouldn't be where we were today if it weren't for ARP.
When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
We're Performance Plus Global Logistics. Our team of dedicated performance industry and logistics experts get valuable cars and components to the track on time in top condition. We provide expedited logistics solutions for the performance industry using direct routes instead of deferred options, and communicate all necessary information to the appropriate resources to meet regulations and ensure a smooth transit and secure delivery, both domestically and internationally. And we exceed customer expectations by providing best-in-class service with an efficient and cost-effective system in place. Contact us today to book your next shipment.
You work as hard as your truck, and you have no time for downtime. That's why more truck owners trust Blue Def, America's #1 diesel exhaust fluid brand. Each batch is guaranteed pure, so you can avoid costly repairs caused by inferior DEF. Demand America's best for your truck. Blue Def and Blue Def Platinum. Put trust in your truck.
With roots in the Midwest that date back well before the Model T, Fifth Third Bank has a long history of serving the needs of automotive companies. While much has changed over the years, our passion for helping businesses put cars on the road and on the track has not. Today, we are more committed than ever as a member of SEMA, a founding member of PRI, and a sponsor of multiple race teams across several racing series. Where can we take your business? Fifth Third Bank.
Where will you find Ferrea racing components, circle track, drag racing, and any top race shop? In every form of motorsports competition, our valves and Valvetrain components deliver race-proven design and technology. And we've brought that same performance to our street applications as well. We're backed by 5 decades of experience, an extensive range of off-the-shelf components, and our custom valve department has the fastest turnaround times in the industry. Ferrea Racing Components. Stand with us or race against us.
When it comes to pushing the limits of performance, the pros know there's no room for compromise. At Crowder Cams, we don't just engineer camshafts and Valvetrain components, we redefine what power means. Since 1955, Crowder Cams has been the name trusted by racers, engine builders, and gearheads around the globe. Whether you're building a street machine, a dragster, or a track car, Crowder Cams provides the muscle you need to dominate. And with Crowder, victory is within your reach.
At SeaTech, we're on a mission to lead the storage industry through innovative custom-built solutions that meet every challenge head-on. Designed for versatility, whether in a commercial setting or at home, we create high-quality, durable products that stand the test of time. SeaTech, engineering and innovation.